Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Welcome to Bramall Lane for today's media conference following the result in the High Court a couple of days ago. Just to introduce the top table, Prince Mossad, Chris Wilder, Prince Abdullah and Chief Executive Stephen Bettis. Can I just reiterate that all phones are off and we're going to embargo everything until the end of the press conference. Prince Abdullah will address and then we'll open the floor. If you can just wait for the mic, and John will bring the mic across. Prince Abdullah.
Good morning, everybody. I'm happy to be here. I think it's a huge responsibility to be owner of this club. It's a club with a huge tradition, a big fan base, and I can assure everybody that we will work hard to make the fans proud and to make everything better. I'm and my team and everybody is 100% committed to the club. Action speaks louder than words. So when you look, as I said in an interview 2 days ago, I hope 5 years from now when the fans look back at this day, things will be much better and we will be, with Chris taking us to a bigger and better place. Thank you.
Hello. Prince Abdullah, just can we start with, since Monday's verdict, your conversations with Chris Wilder, how have they gone? Have you had positive dialogue with him this week?
Yeah, I just had a positive dialogue with him 5 minutes ago. Chris, I mean, I'm really happy with the start. I mean, the way we played this season. I think we played very good football. We showed that we can compete with anybody. We were unlucky, I think, couple of games, but I love the way we played. We were not overmatched by any means. I'm very optimistic, and I think really the ball we play, I mean the football we play is beautiful, and I give full credit to Chris. And I'm also happy with the players that we have and that last transfer window. I think all the players we brought, they showed good character, good energy, good skills. So I'm optimistic, but of course we have to know that we're in a very tough league. We need to win the 50-50 games, like the Southampton game. I think we were much better, but in the Premier League, it's very, very competitive league. You need luck to be in your side. We were not lucky last game, but I think things will be better going forward.
You've already talked to us on Tuesday about you being in it for the long haul, for the long term. How important is it that Chris Wilder is here for the long term as well? And will anything change with his role? Will he be allowed to manage it in the same way?
I think I would be crazy if I said no. And the last I checked, I'm not crazy. Of course, I mean, Chris is... we're blessed to have Chris. I think the results, and more important than the result, the way we play, it speaks for itself. And Chris is the face of this great club, and he's, as the crowd like to say, he's one of us. So, I mean, we do everything to. I think I have good harmony with Chris, and we'll always work together to make this team better.
You said on Tuesday to us on Sky that your financial position has improved since January 2018. Can you be more specific on that and reassure fans?
I think actions, as I say, speaks louder than words. The last transfer window, and Chris and Stephen know that we fought hard to raise it. And when it was time to sign McBurney, I stepped up and I supported the decision, and I gave guarantees to the club from my own money. So I don't want to talk about the past, but I'm just saying, I just want to say that it's a tough league, and of course we will support Chris, and we will, but also we will run the club responsibly, because we have seen many examples in the past of club overspending, and then they go back to a championship and then they suffer. I think that's why another reason I like the last transfer windows, because if you look at the players we brought, most of them, if we, God forbid, get relegated, I don't think we will get relegated. they will be with us. They're young, they're hungry, they're the type of players Chris like.
Chris, we've not heard from you since Monday's verdict, so can we get your reaction, and are you still very positive about the future?
Yeah, 100%. I think any manager will tell you that the ideal scenario and situation will be for them to get on with doing their job to the best of their abilities and respecting the owners of any football club, because they are the owners, but ultimately they're the custodians. And from my point of view, only a couple of times that I've expressed my a touch of frustration towards Prince Abdullah and Kevin. In the majority of times, they've allowed me to get on with my job, to do the job to the best of my ability, and to support me and Stephen Bettis in allowing us to run the football club to the best of our ability, which we obviously have done over the last 3 years. So I've been in contact with Prince Abdullah right the way through my time here, as I was with Kevin McCabe as well. So and obviously, looking back at that period, it has been ultimately a very, very successful one. And I don't think that if there was any problems from board level to manager and manager to board level, that we would have gained the success that we obviously have achieved. And I'm delighted to, I think I don't need to tell everybody how much this club means to me and how much I love the club. I think that from my point of view, which I said when I came in, I will always talk openly and honestly about the running of the football club, but in general, as I've just said, the success that we have had over the past 3 years, where it's been and where it's come from, and even before, I think it's testament to the support that I've been given by both owners. I think in an obvious ideal world, and I should imagine Prince Abdullah will say the same thing as would Kevin McCabe. When they entered this agreement 6 years ago, I'm sure that they would have liked the outcome in terms of a footballing side, being in the Premier League from where they were, but an obvious disappointment that he had to come to the situation that he has. But it has. I've got my head down in that period, as I said, with the support of Stephen, and concentrated on my job, which is obviously is improving the first team in terms of recruitment and in terms of style of play, and most importantly league position, which I think we've obviously done that with the support of both owners.
You've had a lot of success working your way. Would a director of football, is that something that you've talked about? Would you be prepared to work with a director of football?
I think there was obviously talk about improving certain aspects of the football club along the way, and I know obviously what angle you're going to come at regarding Jan van Winkel. Well, I've got to say he's been a member of the board for quite a long time, so he has been involved in all the football decisions as well in terms of the recruitment. As I said, I'm a very hands-on manager. Anything that is done to improve the club, I'm obviously open to. But as I said, my style of management is one where I've got the big decisions to make, and as always, Prince Abdullah and Kevin McCabe, and I'm 100% sure Prince Abdullah will allow me to get on with my job now. In terms of Jan's influence and expertise, his expertise is obviously there to be seen in terms of his track record, and as I said, he's been involved in all the major footballing decisions, which is in terms of the recruitment part and making us better going forward. I'm not pig-headed and not arrogant enough to think I know everything about this game. But obviously, from my point of view, it did work. It has worked, and I should imagine, we've got full confidence that it will work with Jan obviously involved from that point of view.
And Prince Massad, you're going to be based, I understand, day to day in Sheffield. So, what are the priorities for you in your role, and how is it going to work on a day-to-day basis?
So my role will be to drive the strategy forward, and we work together with Chris and Stephen and sustaining the club. We want to be a Premier League club. We want to be a Premier League club. We want to have a sustainable football club, and it's business as usual. Prince Abdullah was the owner since 2013, was one of the owners, and Chris and Stephen had a fantastic journey, and we will complement them, and we work together, and we stick together, and we lift each other upwards.
And Stephen, it's been a difficult period for the club. In a way, is there a sense of relief that there's a little bit of closure and clarity about the future now?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I think, you know, there's a lot of noise outside of the club itself, which that now hopefully will go away, and we can just focus on doing our job. I will say that during the period, both Kevin and Prince Abdullah were extremely sensible about the way they handled their differences to ensure that it didn't hugely affect us on a day-to-day basis. And I think if you look at, you know, for Chris and I, I've been here 3.5 years. Chris has been here 3 years, just over, and we've only ever known Kevin and Prince Abdullah being here. You know, it's never been Kevin on his own or Prince Abdullah on his own. And I think at times it's nicer just to have one owner, because there's one decision, and you know the strategy, and you know how to drive it forward. So, yeah, we're optimistic about the future.
Prince Abdullah, in July of next year, Sheffield United have to acquire the assets, the ground, the training ground, and the other 2 or 3 assets. How will that be paid for?
I think it's too early to answer that question, because first we didn't agree yet on a price for those real estate assets. But I can tell you now, I don't want to keep talking about relegation, because we're not going to get relegated. But you have also to assume the worst. I will handle it. I have no worries. I mean, I think that it's very important to me that the assets be joined with the club, and that will be done. I don't see any worries.
But how much is the future of the club and the money that you have almost dependent on Premier League survival then? If Sheffield United, worst case scenario, do get relegated, you're going to have to buy these assets. Does that come from you?
Yeah, of course. If we go, there's only way that it has to come from me, and hopefully will not come to that. But if it comes to that, that's part of the risk you take. That's part of the responsibility you have, and I will fulfill that responsibility.
Are you right now actively seeking investment from somebody, another party?
No,
right now?
I think I think the real work now starts to bring new sponsors, bigger sponsors. I think Sheffield United as a club is. I'm not worried about the technical side, but there are many other areas that we can improve. I think we being in the Premier League, we should have more revenues from other areas. We will work hard. And I think we will be successful, but because the more the club is financially stronger and the more it's independent, the better for the club future. So we will concentrate in that area.
During the court case, it was revealed that you'd look to try and bring in Deloitte to look at the business and look at the governance of the business, etc. Is that something you are still going to do?
I think now that we're on the club, and we'll take time to assess the situation, and if we need any help, we will bring it. But I like. I'm sure there is room for improvement, and we're gonna look at every area, everything we can improve in. I mean, of course, most fans will only measure success by the performance of the first team, but I think we as owners and as management, we have responsibility to improve everything we do. We're gonna look hard at everything we do, and we're gonna do everything first class. And I think we have the people to do it.
So the basic question on that, and it is very basic, but will Chris get funds for January then?
Yeah, I mean, nobody costs me money more than Chris. My wife is here, but no, Chris still costs me more money.
I realise this is quite a big question, or an open-ended one, for which there's not necessarily a definitive answer today. But can you shed some light on what plans you might have for redevelopment of facilities then here?
I really think that Bramall Lane could be much better, and we're gonna, of course, we're gonna look at, as I said, I mean, we're gonna look not only Bramall Lane, the training, the academy, the the training facilities, everything. I told Stephen a few months ago, I think we were in Los Angeles, that we want to do everything A1. I mean, if we have a legacy after we leave, because results on the field, that is Chris' responsibility, and it's actually, there is a lot of factors. You can't control everything. We can do everything very well. Chris can do everything very well, and the player will miss like 4 goals or 4 chances, and you lose a game. But what we can control is making everything better in this club, starting with the facilities. I think and there is a lot of area to improve there, but we'll have to take it one step at a time.
Prince Mossad, fans will get to know you as time rolls on, but what's your background? You're going to be chairman of this football club.
So I come from a business background, and we want to have a better commercial function of the club, because we want the club to be sustainable, and our mission is for the club to stay in the Premier League and have a sustainable business function. So I'll be driving the commercial side and working alongside Chris and Steve.
And how much, along with Steve, is keeping the man sat next to you happy then, as a guy who's done so much for this football club?
That's true. Chris deserves the respect, and we respect him, and he's a great manager, as Prince Abdullah said, and I think so too. And we will just work to improve the first team and the club as a whole. And Chris is one of our own. He's the number 1 Sheffield United fan, and we will all try the best to lift our club forwards and upwards.
Stephen, how Tim kind of alluded to this, but how nice is it to not be managing warring factions right now?
Yeah, I mean, I think warring factions maybe is a bit strong. For me, it wasn't. As I said, both owners dealt with it very professionally to ensure that the effects of it on the day-to-day running the club didn't hurt us. And I think the last 3 years show that. I mean, we've had success on and off the field, importantly off the field as well, in terms of improving the facilities and improving the numbers so that we create a sustainable football club. But certainly having one owner gives you the ability to all be on the same page about the way of driving the club forward and improving it. And everything that I've spoken about with Prince Abdullah makes me very confident about the future for the football club. And business as usual and onwards and upwards, fingers crossed.
Chris, we've discussed this sort of in part in the past. I mean, how central to operations has Stephen been in the past couple of years? Because during the court case it was revealed that Kevin McCabe had tried to get rid of him.
Well, there's all sorts of relationships, isn't it, in a football club? Relationships between manager and board, manager and chief exec, players, and etc. So, and I've got a fantastic, healthy working relationship with Steve, and it isn't always about Steve saying yes to me. There's many a time that I've pushed and stuff that is rightly rejected at times. I think all managers will do, but so I've got a lot of respect for Steve and his background and how much he's attached to this football club, even though he's possibly not got the same history as the likes of myself and Billy. Doesn't mean that he's not working 100% full tilt to make this club a success, as is everybody is who we try and bring into the building, whether they're players, staff, or whatever. So,